Hello everyone, this is lecture 2, class 9th, subject English, chapter number 4 taken from Moment's book In the Kingdom of Fools, written by A.K. Ramanujan. We are going to discuss two things in this lecture. First, we will have a look on the recapitulation. Then we will discuss the homework solutions. That is the textual questions which I gave you after the explanation of this chapter in my previous lecture. So let's have a look on the recapitulation of this chapter. Let's see what we all studied in this chapter. Now let's have a look on the summary of this chapter. In the Kingdom of Fools is an interesting story of a kingdom which was run by a foolish king. As the title of the story itself suggests, in the Kingdom of Fools, that is the kingdom which was run by a foolish king. One day a saint and his disciple reached the kingdom. One day a saint and his disciple reached which kingdom? The Kingdom of Fools. The saint was astonished, was surprised to see that the people were sleeping during the day and worked during the night. That means they were doing the opposite of the normal people. He was disturbed to see that all the food items in the kingdom costed the same, that is 1 to 2. That was the currency, that was the price. That means he was surprised to see the condition of that kingdom, that everyone used to sleep during the day and used to work during the night. And another thing that was surprising to him was the cost of the food items, that was actually same. He analyzed that it was a kingdom of fools. Seeing such a condition of the kingdom, he had come to the conclusion that it was a kingdom of fools and ordered his disciple to leave the place. But the disciple did not leave with his guru, as he was lured by the abundance of cheap food. As he was tempted, he was attracted, as he was foodie and loved to eat food, and everything was costing the same there, so he did not like to leave the place and wanted to enjoy the cheap food for more days. Now one day what happened? A man approached the king for justice. So the disciple did not leave that place, but his guru left the place and the disciple was living alone in that kingdom. So one day what happened? A man approached the king for justice. He claimed that his brother was committing his ancient trait of theft, and during that the wall of a man's house fell on him and he died. Now he claimed that his brother was a thief. He was doing robbery in one of the merchant's house, and it is the fault of that merchant's wall that it had fallen on him and he died. He asked the king to get him compensated. He asked for the compensation. He asked for some money in exchange of his brother's death. As the king was foolish, he did not analyze that the dead man was a criminal. The king was so foolish that he did not even pay attention to the thing that the dead man was actually a thief, and he had come to that man's house in order to do robbery. On the contrary, he tried all the people who were involved in the death of the thief. Instead of looking towards that matter that his brother was a thief, he called all the people who were responsible or who were involved in that particular case. The rich merchant who was the owner of the house, whose wall had broken, then the man who had built the wall, he was also held responsible that he built the weak wall. Then the dancing girl, due to whom the builder had built a weak wall, and the goldsmith, because of him the dancing girl had to move around in the street that day. So one can imagine the foolishness of the king from this particular case, that instead of blaming the dead man, instead of claiming the dead man with the penalty of committing crime, he involved all the people who were involved in the death of the thief. Finally, the king decided that the merchant's father was the real culprit. So finally, who was decided as the main culprit? The merchant's father was the main culprit. As he was dead and his son had inherited all his property, as his father was dead, so his son would be held responsible for his mistake, and so he would also get punished in place of his father. Now another turn of events took place when the minister felt that the merchant was too thin to be killed by the stake. Now ultimately the judgment was done that the particular merchant whose father was actually responsible, but as his father was dead, so his son would be punished. But when this judgment had taken place, then another turn of events took place in order to find the person who would fit the stake, as the minister was too thin to fit the stake. Now the king ordered his men to find a fat person who could be punished in place of the merchant. As the merchant was too thin to fit the stake, now the order had been passed to find a fat person. As the disciple had become very fat, the men took him to the king. As he was tempted by the cheap food, he was eating food daily in bulk, so he had become fat and was the suitable man to fit the stake. The innocent man prayed to his guru for help. The guru visualized that his disciple was in trouble and somehow reached to save him. He used his intelligence and wisdom to trap the foolish king. As we all know that Guru was a wise man, was full of wisdom, whereas his disciple did not listen to him, that ultimately led him to trouble. And ultimately after that also he remembered his Guru only, and he was the one who ultimately saved him from this big trouble. Finally, the king and his minister got themselves killed by the stake in place of the Guru and his disciple. So the Guru used his wisdom and the king and the minister was trapped in Guru's words, and ultimately that led to their death. The people of the kingdom begged the Guru and his disciple to become their new king and minister. The Guru agreed on a condition that the kingdom would function normally like all other kingdoms did. So finally, after the death of the foolish king and his minister, the people of that particular kingdom pleaded, requested the Guru and his disciple to be their new king and minister, but they put one condition to agree, that they would not sleep during the day and would work during the night. Instead, they would work normally like all other people of other kingdoms used to do. So this was about a brief review of the chapter. Now let's see the highlights. Trouble starts. Where the actually trouble started? Thief breaks into a merchant's house. So one day what happened? A thief broke into a merchant's house. That is, a thief was doing robbery, and while he was leaving the house after his work was done, a wall collapsed and the thief died. So the wall collapsed and the thief ultimately died. The thief's brother blamed the merchant for his brother's death, and as we all know that it was the kingdom of fools, was the kingdom of foolish people, and the king was also the foolish one. So the brother of the thief claimed the compensation and also blamed the merchant for building a weak wall that led to the death of his brother, who was actually a thief who went into the merchant's house in order to do robbery. But he pleaded, he claimed and blamed the merchant that it was the merchant's fault to build a weak wall which actually collapsed and ultimately led to the death of his brother. The trial. Now let's see the persons who were held responsible for that robbery, who's actually responsible for that robbery, that particular thief. But because of the foolish people and of the foolish king of that kingdom of fools, the people who were not involved in the case were also somehow got involved. First, the merchant said that it was the fault of the bricklayer. So when the merchant of the house, in whose house actually the robbery had taken place, he said that it was not his fault, as the wall was built by the bricklayer when his father was alive. That means the house was built so many years back. The bricklayer held the dancing girl responsible. When the bricklayer was called that why did you build a weak wall, so he held that there was one dancing girl who kept on moving here and there, that actually distracted him, which made him build that weak wall. Now the dancing girl was called and she blamed the goldsmith because she had ordered some jewelry and the goldsmith was calling her on and off for that particular order. So it was not her fault, it was the fault of the goldsmith who was calling her one after the other day in order to get her jewelry. So in that way the people who were not involved, who were not even attached to that robbery, got involved because of that foolish king. Now the goldsmith in turn accused the rich merchant. When the blame turned upon him, he accused whom? The rich merchant, that I was unable to build the order, I was unable to complete the order of jewelry of this girl, as I was forced to complete one order of one rich merchant. Now the rich merchant who was forcing the goldsmith to complete his order first was also called. Now let's see who was the rich merchant. And the merchant was none other than the original owner of the house whose wall had fallen. So ultimately the blame came upon the merchant only, in whose house the robbery had taken place. He should be the one to complain to the king. Instead he was being called upon to justify his mistake because of the wall, of the collapsing of the wall that ultimately led to the death of one thief who broke into his house only to do the robbery. So ultimately after all these trials the blame came upon the merchant. Now let's see what would be the decision of the king. The judgment. Now let's see what will be the judgment of the king after hearing so many justifications of so many people. So justice had come a full circle. The ultimately blame came upon the merchant in whose house the robbery had taken place. The king thought. Now he was thinking that what should be done now. Then he ordered the merchant to be executed, as he was the person who was held responsible. Initially also, when the brother of that thief blamed him and claimed for the compensation, then also he was the person who was responsible for the death of his brother. Now also when the people were called upon who were responsible to build the weak wall, then also he was the one who came out to be the culprit. So he ordered the merchant to be executed, to be hanged. a new stake was prepared, and in order to hang upon the merchant, a new stake was prepared. But again the trouble came. It turned out to be too big for the merchant. As the new stake was prepared, it was made too big. The merchant was too thin to fit the stake, so he could not be hanged on that stake. Now another trouble came, that what should be done now, as the stake had been made but it is unable to fit the merchant. Funny alternative. Now the alternative had been thought upon by the king. It had been called funny as it was thought by one foolish king, so it cannot be a understandable one. The king ordered to find a fat man to fit in the stake. The merchant was responsible, but as he was unable to fit the stake, now he ordered to find a fat man from the whole kingdom who would be fitting in the stake. In order, as the offense had to be justified and punishment had to be given, so the punishment would be given to the person who has no give and take with this case, but the person who would fit the stake would be hanged. The disciple who had grown fat eating rice and ghee and sweets for one to do was selected. He had grown fat, so he was found by the men of the king, as he was the one who would fit the stake. The disciple was shocked and remembered the words of his guru. That time he remembered that what his guru advised him to do, to leave the place, but he was tempted, he was greedy to eat the food that actually led him in big trouble. Guru's trick. Now as the disciple was in trouble, he remembered his guru. Now let's see what was his guru's trick. The disciple remembered his guru who appeared at once. He remembered his guru and his guru appeared at one call. He whispered something in his disciple's ears. He said something softly in his disciple's ears, and after that both were requesting the king that they wanted to die first. As the disciple was the person who was the suitable man to fit the stake, but his guru arrived, and now both were requesting that they wanted to die first. The king was shocked, the king was puzzled, was confused. Then the guru told the king the reason, that the person who will die first would be the king, and the second person would be the minister in next incarnation, in next rebirth. So he told that this stake is so that this new stake which the king had built, the person who would die on it first would be the king, and the person who would die the next would be the minister. The guru knew that the kingdom was of fools, and so was the king. So he knew that easily the king would be trapped in his words and the disciple would be saved. So he played a trick. The climax. Now what was the climax? The king fell into the trap of his temptation and wanted to be the king in his rebirth. He also went greedy, that he wanted to be the king in the next life also, right? So he fell into the trap. He went into the prison at night and set the guru and disciple free. That means he went into the prison that night and set both of them free. In their place, he means the king and his minister disguised themselves, replaced themselves as the guru and the disciple, and got executed and got hanged the next morning. Now we will discuss the homework solutions of the previous homework, that was To solve the textual questions of this chapter, now we will discuss those questions. First question was, what are the two strange things the Guru and his disciple find in the kingdom of fools? Answer. The Guru and his disciple found the following two strange things. First, all the people used to sleep during the day and work during the night time. They had trained the cattle and all the other animals also to do the same, as they feared punishment at the hands of the king. And the second thing that was strange was that everything in the kingdom of fools, say it be a bag of rice or a bunch of bananas, costed same, that is 1 to 2. The Guru was astonished and his disciple was excited to realize that food was so cheap in the kingdom. Now next question was, why does the disciple decide to stay in the kingdom of fools? Is it a good idea? So why did he decide to stay? The disciple loved food. He got excited to see such cheap food available in the kingdom of fools, as he was a food lover. As he wanted to relish more and more food, as he wanted to enjoy more and more cheap food, he stayed back in the kingdom of fools. His decision was not a good one, as he got into trouble. He was warned by his Guru, but he did not listen to him and continued to stay in the kingdom of fools, and ultimately he was trapped into one trouble. Although he was innocent, the king's man took him for execution, as they needed a fat person who could be killed easily by the stake. Next question. Name all the people who are tried in the king's court and give the reasons for their trial. So who were the people who were tried? The people who were tried in the king's court are: the rich merchant, who was the owner of the house, was tried because the wall that collapsed onto the thief belonged to him. Later, he was again tried and held guilty on behalf of his dead father, who had ordered the goldsmith to deliver the ornaments in a haste, due to which the goldsmith could not deliver the dancing girl's ornaments in time. The bricklayer who had built the weak wall was also tried for constructing the wall that collapsed and killed the thief. The dancing girl was tried for distracting the bricklayer. As she walked in the lane again and again, the jingling sound of her anklets distracted the bricklayer, because of which he constructed a weak wall. The goldsmith was tried because it was due to him that the dancing girl had to walk up and down the lane again and again. The rich merchant's dead father was tried because he had ordered the goldsmith to deliver his ornaments first, as there was a wedding in his family. Due to his order, the goldsmith was unable to make the dancing girl's ornaments on time. Next question. Who is the real culprit according to the king? Why does he escape punishment? Answer. According to the king, the real culprit was the merchant's dead father, because he was the one who forced the goldsmith to make his ornaments first, which actually made the girl to walk up and down. That ultimately led to the building of weak wall, which ultimately led to the death of that thief. Now this real culprit, who was the merchant's dead father, as he was dead, he could not be punished, and in place of him, his son, who had inherited all his property, would be punished. Next question. What are the Guru's words of wisdom? when does the disciple remember them? So what were his words of wisdom? The Guru had told his disciple that the place was a kingdom of fools and it was unsafe for them. He had asked his disciple to leave the place at once. The disciple was reminded of his Guru's words of wisdom when he landed into trouble. When the king's men took him for execution, he prayed to his Guru and asked him to save his life. Last question. How does the Guru manage to save his disciple's life? The Guru was a wise and intelligent man. He trapped the foolish king in his talks. He said that as he was the Guru, he was senior to his disciple and so he should be killed first. The king got confused to see the Guru's eagerness to die. He asked him the reason for it. On being promised that he would be killed first, the Guru said that as the stake was a new one, it had not killed any criminal. He added that the person who would be killed by the stake first would be reborn as the king of the kingdom. The second person who would be killed by the stake would be reborn as the minister of the kingdom. The king considered the Guru to be genuine and so told his minister that they should not lose their kingdom in the next birth. In this way, the king decided to save his kingdom and got himself and his minister killed by the stake in place of the Guru and his disciple. Hence, the Guru saved his disciple's life. Now your homework is that you have to read and revise the chapter thoroughly and then do the question answers in your English Fair notebook.